How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. A lot of people have a hard time understanding Bitcoin at first. They can't understand something that doesn't produce cash flow, and it causes them to miss out. I also want to talk about why this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that a lot of people don't get right now. I want to talk about this here today. I also want to talk about what's happening in the market, some key levels for Bitcoin specifically and some other cryptos too. If you don't mind, hit subscribe, turn on that bell notification underneath the video so you can see the future videos just like this one as soon as I make them, because there's a lot of stuff coming. Like, people are super excited. Bitcoin's at not all time, it's at 52-week highs. And this is just the beginning. We're going to break through all-time highs. Everyone's going to flood in. You want to make sure that you're paying attention to the trends happening in the market right now. Speaking about the trends happening in the market, you can look underneath the video. There's a link to HGAaccess. I teamed up with about 10 other creators to give information that you can't get anywhere else. We get reached out to all the time by different projects, by different exchanges. We know where money's flowing. When advertising starts, we go to parties. We talk with other influencers. We want to give that information to you. We also want to give you ideas and information on different cryptos that we like. We just did a live stream earlier today, so if you want to check this out, there's a link underneath the video, and there's a link down there to Margex where you can trade different cryptocurrencies. If you haven't already signed up for this, there's no KYC, meaning they don't ask you a lot of information. You basically put in an email, password, go through their terms and stipulations, make sure you're in an area where you're allowed to do this. And then you can sign up. All deal indicators are on screen, meaning you can see like everything without having to scroll or go to different pages. It's super easy compared to a lot of other exchanges. And there is a deposit bonus too. So you can use that to cover some of your fees. Check that out underneath the video. Now, like we've talked about earlier today, there's a lot of news about capital coming into cryptocurrency, whether it's seeding, or whether it is money on the sidelines. There's a lot of excitement thinking that this is pretty much a done deal, this ETF. And I realize that a lot of us understand what Bitcoin is, what crypto is, but a lot of people don't really, outside of us, outside of maybe crypto YouTube, crypto Twitter, don't understand the benefit of Bitcoin. And I've talked about it so many times. I even did a video a couple of years ago about like 41 reasons to buy Bitcoin or something like that. Like some of the benefits of using Bitcoin, some of the selling points. We're not going to go through that today, but I want to show you something that maybe is a different way of looking at Bitcoin and really understanding it in a different way. But first, I want to show you this chart. This is a really important chart. This is basically just going all the way back to 2019. This line has held up, whether it was resistance or support again, or support again. And now we're passing it again. I saw some other people tweet about this too. It's almost like macro enough that it's not important. Like who thought of this? But I have been seeing it circulate around a bit too. So whenever there are enough eyeballs on a chart, I think it's important to kind of show it or think about it. So if we break this like 47.5, we'll be above this line. And then we're looking at like 48. I saw a lot of other people talk about maybe 48's the high before the Bitcoin halving because of us hitting previous resistance. So I'm watching these levels. If we have a candle that goes up to 50 or above 50, I think that's going to be really, really bullish. I mean, we could easily go up to all-time highs pretty quickly after 50. I'm also watching ETH, Bitcoin. This is an ugly chart. I've shown it in a lot of videos recently, but we just touched down on the previous support. So we'll watch this. We're within a 2%, 1% of it. I'll be watching this to see if ETH breaks out or falls down, and maybe I'll allocate more towards ETH depending on that. Now, like I said, we have a lot of inflows, a lot of people dumping money into crypto, but still a lot of people don't understand Bitcoin. So many people have a difficult time understanding why Bitcoin's valuable. And when you compare it to other currencies, right, it's actually a better version of most of them. For example, here are some of the properties of money. Durability. A cow is fairly durable, but a long trip to market runs the risk of sickness or death. Portability. It's really hard to move houses, right? Or to have really large types of money, like a cow. Divisibility. You need to be able to divide it up, obviously, very easily. A $20 bill can be exchanged for other denominations. Uniformity, right? Not all cows are the same. They're using cows a lot. Limited supply. There is no limited supply for the US dollar. And acceptability. It needs to be accepted in some form or fashion. And that's where some people have a hard time with Bitcoin. But the thing that people have a harder time with Bitcoin is valuing it. Now, I've talked about this in a previous video. There are so many different ways to value Bitcoin. One thing that Michael Saylor said before, maybe a good way of valuing Bitcoin is just based on the prior price. And there's stock to flow. There's all kinds of stuff. But he specifically talked about the 200-week moving average, which basically always goes up. Right now, the 200-week simple moving average is around 30,100, 30,200. And it's just, again, it's a running average of the last 200 weeks. Now, something that I thought would be interesting to look at was, what if we look at a company? Take a look at this company. In 2010, the value of the company, or we can go with revenue, either one. Let's say it was $300. Like the company's worth $300. Then 2011, it's worth $320. Then all the way up to $7,000. So they had a lot of growth. Or again, you could look at revenue saying that it's $7,000 worth of revenue. Then $13,000. Then $829,000. Then it had a tough year, went down 75%, but then recovered another 100% up. Then broke all-time highs in terms of value / revenue. And then it went up to 15 million, back down to 4, but then back up to 8, then 37, then 43, then 19, then 47 again. Take a look at the chart here, right? You can barely see it here, but then it starts to take off. You smooth it out, like just a line right through the middle, going up. It's pretty fast, right? It's pretty exponential. Would you be interested in this company? Like if someone reached out to you and said back in 2010, like, hey, I have this company, I have this idea. This is what we were able to make this year. And you're like, I don't know. Then the next year they grow a little bit, just like 6%, 7%, still trying to figure it all out. They come up to you, do you want to invest? No. The next year, they 20x, 25x. You still don't want to invest. Okay. 2013, you still don't want to invest at 14,000. Then how about 830,000? They grew from 300 to 7,000 to 830,000 over 5 years. I think most people will be like, damn, I really missed out on this, right? I really missed out. I should have bought. And then the next year it goes down. They have a tough year. They say, hey, do you want to invest? Now, in a brick and mortar business, I feel like most people will be like, oof, maybe I should really consider this. If there was a way back, right? If you didn't think it was just going to die or something, but maybe they lost a big contract, but they have another big contract on the way. Some people would look at that and say, man, I really missed out on investing in this early, but now it's come down a little bit. I should probably buy some of it. If they come to me, I'll buy it. Now, from there, if you had done that, you would make huge returns, right? You'd be super rich. People don't do that with crypto assets. If you ever notice, I bring this up because this is literally just the price of Bitcoin times 100. So at first it was like 30 cents in 2010. Then in 2011, it was still 32 cents. I'm looking around like early January each year. 2012, $7.14, then $829. I just multiplied it by 100 to hide it a little bit. And then right now we're at like 47 million or 47,000, right? Depending on which column you're looking at. But the difference is in crypto, people get reached out to all the time, or they look at it all the time and they think, oh, it's just going to go lower. So it's not like a one-time offer each year. People always are wondering, is now the best time or should I wait? When really, if you had bought any time in the span, the key is to actually buy. Like if you had bought in the first 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, it doesn't really matter. You just want to buy and buy a good amount. Because if you buy a good amount, whether you get in at 30 cents or get in at $14 or $1,000, you'd be wealthy right now. If you had put $10,000 in it at $1,000, right, you would have 10 Bitcoin. That's a lot of money. Whether you wait for it to drop down to 800 or whether you get completely lost and never be able to buy in, it's just dependent on how greedy you are. Now, I realize some people would say, well, this still isn't a business. Like Bitcoin doesn't have cash flows. That's where some people just don't understand like digital scarcity, stock to flow, different ways of valuing assets outside of just cash flow. There's some people that really just don't want to invest in it, like Warren Buffett, like Charlie Munger, and that's okay. They're just going to miss out on the parabolic gains because it's just math. When there are more people that want to come into it, there are more people that are going to buy. The price is going to go up if there's a fixed supply. And there is value, but it's not cash flow. It's like, how do you value the internet? Is it just because it doesn't create cash flow? Is it worthless? No, it's very, very valuable. Well, there's no way to buy into the internet. The closest thing we can do is buy into companies that work on the internet that have kind of taken over. But with Bitcoin, we can literally buy the network. Like imagine you invested in the internet. If you could have invested in the internet back in 2000 or 1990, like you could actually own a percentage of the internet. That's basically like what it is when you're buying Bitcoin right now. You're owning a percentage of the network or of the tokens, right? So it's an interesting way of thinking about it. I hope that helps in some ways. Maybe you can share that to a friend. I think just most people don't think about it that way. And now I say this is a once in a lifetime opportunity because really there was no option like this in the past. There's no technology that I can think of where you could get in on the ground floor before so many institutions, before it became so mainstream. Right now it's 100 million people that maybe hold a tiny bit of Bitcoin, maybe 1 million people that have any kind of significant amount of Bitcoin, but there was no way to invest in the internet before it became huge. We're already seeing countries adopt. We're seeing so many big entities trying to get in, and they just have been held up. They haven't been able to buy from regulatory standpoints, but that's changing. So there is a huge opportunity here, but not for people that wait too long. Even if you never bought, right, along this way, someone keeps on reaching out to you about a business, like I would think around when it's 1,000x, you would start thinking like really deeply, like, should I buy this? And a lot of people have started to do that with crypto, but even more people haven't. They just read the headlines. They're sheep. They don't care. They don't pay attention, and they're going to miss out. They are. They're going to eventually get it in their 401ks after it's up to $500,000. It's going to be thrown in a retirement account, and they're not even going to know it. But we're going to know it because we're making money off of them depositing money into their 401ks every week. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're all excited about the next few days. Keep in mind, volatility is going to be there, but in the long term, it's going to be great for us if this ETF gets approved. Thank you so much. Check out the links to HGAccess and to Margex, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.